Stillness, abundance, love, and light, health, and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. To the cosmic consciousness, family, and soul tribe. The key word in all I just said was love, you hear me? It's love. As y'all don't heard me say before, it takes 10 times more effort to be better than you never been. And to be better than you never been require change. I say that because it take a lot to not react or respond in the ways that we used to act and or respond when certain things come at us. But before I begin, I want to say if at any point you find yourself saying, what is he talking about? Then this probably ain't for you. Heal some more, go learn some more, and then come back. And maybe it may resonate. But at no point should we ever think that if I say something, that I don't know what I'm talking about. And if at any point you decide that you want to point something out or call yourself correcting me, if it don't get you ignored, it's probably gonna get you burnt. I say that because people gonna try you, just like people gonna try me. But your maturity, your growth, and your emotional intelligence gonna determine all that occurs after that. In reflection, because I'm gonna share some things that I was thinking about, and for those of you who rock with it, or may want to share something in the comment section according to what I'm about to talk about, that's fine and dandy. Just remain respectful, because it's a lot of things that I could say, but I try to stay in that frequency of love, and it ain't easy. You hear me? Not for me. It ain't easy. Like I said previously, I'm tough on myself because it takes 10 times more effort to be better than I used to be. But unhealed people walking around us and living amongst us everywhere, every day. And they're going to come in the name of love. They're going to come in the name of peace, talking about peace, brother, peace, sister. Jesus love you, Buddha bless you, so forth and so on. And in reality, they toxic than a motherfucker. Ain't no other way else for me to say it, you hear me? I know because I had to do a lot of work, as I just previously said, a lot of self-work and a lot of generational bond breaking. And I did. Ain't nobody I don't know nobody that came from a perfect family. I don't know nobody that came from a family that narcissistic traits wasn't present. You hear me? I don't know nobody that came from a family that pseudo-mutuality. If you don't know what that word means, go look it up. I don't know nobody that came from a family where pseudo-mutuality didn't exist. If we here, we all part of the fall, you hear me? So that means we're gonna be all part of the rise for those who apply themselves for it to apply. You see, as my shirt implies, we created this mess that we in, and it's on us to get ourselves out. So, as I just said, I had to do a lot of self-work and generational bond breaking, familial ties, friend and association ties, so forth and so on. And like I said, I was thinking earlier, I was, when I'm doing certain things, my mind go into places where my mind go. I travel to the places that I travel. And usually when I come back, or I finish doing what I'm doing, and I, come back to within myself, I usually have something that I done brought back with me. But I was thinking, and I want us to be honest to ourselves and with ourselves when I ask this. What did y'all do with y'all time in lockdown during C-19? How did y'all spend that time other than preventing yourself from going crazy with all that was going on outside when we couldn't go outside? Because even more was going on inside of us. Because for the most of us, we was trying to prevent ourselves from going crazy. You hear me? I asked that because we got tested. We got put through the fire. We got put through the furnace. Whatever you may know it as, like never before. And unknown to many, suicide skyrocketed during that time. Go do your research. You hear me? And in some places, suicide was higher than the C-19 deaths. Go do your research. You hear me? Because more was going on inside us than it was going on outside, and we weren't allowed to go outside. You hear me? But how did we use that time until now? And why is healing so necessary right now when we had all that time in confinement? Cause we was in confinement, we was in prison, whether we want to accept it or not. A lot of y'all I've been in prison before. I've been in lockdown before. But for those that haven't, they ain't know how to deal with that. You hear me? But how did we use that time until this present moment that we find ourselves in? How did we use that time? Why is healing so important? Why is healing so necessary right now when we had all the time to spend time on ourselves? I want y'all to think about that for a minute. Because most people didn't use that time wisely. Most people didn't use that time or that experience, let me say, to get acquainted with themselves, to get better in themselves, or to be better for themselves. You know better than I do concerning you. Just be honest with yourself. You hear me? As I said previously, we got tested in all kinds of ways. We got tested in our relationship with ourselves. We got tested in our relationship according to the different types of relationships that we have with others, so forth and so on. In a lot of areas concerning those relationships, things was broke up, ties got severed, marriages ended, friendships ended, so forth and so on. We can go through a whole bunch of things. But we really got to see who people really were and who people really were. More so, we got to see who we were and who we weren't. In short, some of us use that time to get worse if you ain't use it to get better. Let it apply where it applies, but don't shoot. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot at the messenger. Don't come at the messenger. And then all of a sudden, when it was over, everybody came out king, queens. Yeah, it's funny. Everybody came out kings and queens, you hear me? This and that. You know, they kings and queens, or they this and that. Priests and high priests, so forth and so on. All right, where it apply, let it apply where it apply. You hear me? But don't come at the messenger, you hear me? But in the process of all that, ain't no self-work been done. Ain't no self-improvement been done. Ain't no shadow work been done, or whatever you know it as. You hear me? But the world populated full of kings and queens and priests and high priestesses and gods and goddesses now. You hear me? Biggest joke ever. You heard? The biggest joke ever. We just took on titles where it apply that we think make us look as the title implies. But ain't no work been done. When in reality, we got the same old attitudes. We got the same old behaviors. We still caught in the same old addictions. We still caught in the same old habits. You hear me? So in reality, some people ain't changed shit. And just like I know some, you know some. If it ain't you, you hear me? Some people ain't changed shit. They just found better ways to cover it up. And I know what that's like, because in different phases of my life, depending on who involved and what's involved, I did a lot of things to cover up things that I didn't want to be exposed, you hear me? So I know how it go, you heard? Some people ain't changed shit. They just found better ways to cover it up. You know if you know. Then them people still moving around us. Them people still moving amongst us each and every day, everywhere. You hear me? In our families, in our friend circles, in our associate circles, in our employment circles, so forth and so on. You hear me? Everywhere. If you could feel it, you could feel it. If you could see it, you could see it. You hear me? If you could smell them, you could smell them. Them three of the clairs right there, you heard? But they everywhere. So I question a lot of things. I question a lot of things. Just to say this. If you healing and you raising your frequency and your vibration and tapping into your intuition, to your frequency, and to your vibration, to your intuition and your spiritual qualities or the spiritual aspects, because it's not a gift if we came with it, even though I use those terms, and sometimes I have to use words, the words that we have or the words that we know concerning the English language, because it ain't no other words to be able to describe what it is or what I'm talking about, or what we talking about when we having discourse or dialogue. So words are the only way to describe what we're trying to get across. But our God likeness, you know, for those of us who use that time wisely to tap into our God likeness, it benefited us. For those who didn't, it didn't benefit them. But for those who did, we can see it where it don't apply. Or you don't know who's who. Because the math's been upgraded, family. The math's been upgraded. We gotta be able to see. We gotta be able to hear. We gotta be able to smell. You hear me? We got to be able to feel out here. And in some cases, you know, you got to know how to touch without touching what needs to be touched. If you don't listen, you're going to miss it. I'm talking about our God likeness. And keep doing the work for those that's doing the work. You hear me? Just keep doing the work for those that's been doing the work. I ain't come to say much, and I wasn't gonna record, but my spirit felt uneasy, so I had to come say something, you know. And I ain't just come to say anything. I had to come say something that count, like I do each and every time I show up. You hear me? Cause who gonna show up for me like me? Cause ain't nobody gonna show up for you like you. You hear me? If not you, who? Who gonna do it for you? I can't say I am for you. You hear me? But keep working, family. Those who doing the work, keep working. You heard? I ain't gonna say too much cause a whole lot of stuff on my mind. But like I say, it takes 10 times more effort to be better than you never been. You know? And it's easy to come on social media and act an ass and act a fool, you know, and I'll just leave that at that. But it's easy to do those things, but it takes more effort to be restrained and exercise control. You hear me? Because those that don't have self-control exposing themselves. You hear me? Emotional maintenance is spiritual maintenance. And you ain't gotta be spiritual per se to reap the benefits. But if you are spiritual, then you got more probability to reap the benefits of the things that is pertaining to you, I'll say. Not pertaining to what I'm speaking about, but the things that's pertaining to you. And I say that because they get to the opposite of what you have or what you've been used to, and then to the highest of who you are. You gotta do the opposite of what you've been doing. May that apply where it apply, but don't try to make it fit. It's gonna resonate or it won't. I just point out things to make us think. And even in doing that, sometimes I have to step down in a sense to do that. Meaning I have to come into the places to speak to those who still in them places in order to be a help or assistance for them to get out of them. Those who get it, gonna get it. And I appreciate y'all who do. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Once again, love is the key. You hear me? Tonight's emoji is gonna be a rainbow. A rainbow. Because you hear me? They told me to shut up. Because if you watch the video, place the emoji in the comment section, which is a rainbow. As simple as that, to be submitted for the end of this month raffle. Remember, feel good for no reason at all. That's the motto. Feeling good is feeling God. You hear me? Can't nobody do that for you. You hear me? I can't feel good. I can't feel good for you. You hear me? And even if I say something or do something just to spark an emotion of you feeling good, it's only temporary unless you know how to hold it. You hear me? So with that, the next emoji gonna be the rainbow. You know, as I love myself, I love y'all, family. Thanks for having me. My name is Sawu. And thanks for it all. I love y'all. Peace.